I get this question all the time. Jimmy, what's the difference between ROI and profit in my business? And whether you're an Amazon seller or any business owner for that matter, you need to know the answer to this. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you what these two numbers represent and mean for your business and what the differences are between them. Now, obviously, the goal of any business, and specifically any reselling business, is to be profitable. Flashy sales may be nice, and you may see that from a lot of influencers in the space, especially for Amazon selling. But what makes it worth it is profitability. And that's what helps keep you going, not just keeping your business running so that you have money left over, but it keeps you motivated to move forward, which is why it's so important to start with profit whenever we are going through these analyses. So very simply put, for Amazon sellers, profit is everything left over after your inventory expense and after your Amazon fees. Now, there are other things that can come out of this. You've got gross profit and net profit. But all we're caring about in terms of analyzing the products that we're purchasing for our Amazon business is taking the sales value minus your inventory cost, or the cost of the product, minus the Amazon fees. That is your gross profit left over to help you make the best buying decisions in your business. So here are some of the things that when sourcing, your profit actually takes into account for you. So first, the sales price. That's pretty obvious. You sell something for $20, then that is your selling price that you bring in as a gross revenue. Now, the second thing would be Amazon pick and pack fees. These are fees that Amazon charges to sellers based off the items that they're selling, whether they're small or they're large. The pick and pack fees will vary, but Amazon tells you these things up front. Now, the third thing is Amazon's referral fees. So Amazon collects a percentage from every sale just for referring a customer to your product and sending them to the listing. So they do charge that for each item that you sell. And again, they show you that up front before you ever buy inventory and send it into them. You know what the pick and pack fees will be, and you know what the referral fees will be. Now, the fourth thing that comes out of the profitability is actually your shipping to FBA. So if you're in the Fulfilled by Amazon program, you're shipping your goods to an Amazon FBA warehouse for them to fulfill to customers, you have to pay to get your items shipped to Amazon. Now, typically what this comes down to is an average cost based off the weight of your items. That's how most sellers elect to calculate it, because it can be kind of just an average, right? Sometimes you may spend 20 cents per pound. Sometimes you may spend 50 cents per pound. And so we need to come up with a good average for your particular business. If you're a smaller seller and you're sending in 50 units in a shipment, well, you're going to be paying higher per pound because Amazon charges you a pretty good fee. If you're somebody sending in 700 units that are each a pound, that's 700 pounds, and you get charged $210 for shipping, that ends up being 30 cents per pound. And so ultimately, while you are spending more in your shipping, you're spending less per pound. And so we need to figure out what that per pound shipping rate is. For most new sellers, I recommend setting it at anywhere from 50 cents to $1 per pound, just so you have a good range or a good idea of how much you could be spending. Now, if you're more advanced or experienced, then you can actually go into your shipments and see how much this is going to cost you based off of how much you've spent in the past, and that can be the rate that you use. But while you're calculating your profitability for any one particular item, you're going to have the sale price, then you're going to be taking out the pick and pack fees, then you're going to take out the referral fees, and then you'll have your shipping rate per pound, and Amazon will calculate your total estimated cost to ship based off the per pound rate that you put in the Amazon FBA calculator. Now, then the fifth thing that you need in terms of profit is your cost of inventory. So once you've gone through all those first few items, then you need to subtract out your cost of inventory. So let's say that you've got an item that sells for $20 on Amazon, and you end up having $9 of fees for the pick and pack, referral, and your shipping to FBA based on Amazon. So you've got $11 left over. Well, if your cost of inventory is $6, then 11 minus 6, that means you have a $5 net profit in terms of your estimating whenever you're doing your sourcing for your business. Now, one thing to note is that it does not take into account your cost to actually prep these items. So if you have poly bags or bubble wrap or other things like stickers and your time, all of that goes into it, that prep cost does not go into our analysis for buying inventory up front. Now, whenever you're looking at the entire business, let's say at the end of the month, you're going to want to subtract those items out so that way you have a good picture of what your actual profitability on the business is. But whenever you're looking at purchasing products for your Amazon business, you don't have the ability to always take that information into account. And so we're just looking at those first 5 steps that I just mentioned regarding having your sales price, your referral fee, your pick and pack fee, your shipping to FBA, and your cost of inventory. That's how you're going to be making your buying decisions in your Amazon business. So let's take a look at some examples really quick. On the left-hand side is the revenue calculator in the Amazon seller app. And there's an item price of $9.28. So the total price is $9.28 for Amazon fulfillment. There's Amazon fees of $1.73, fulfillment fees of $3.09. They have a 1 penny storage cost based on that setting. And then here is where you can set up your shipping to Amazon. So if your shipping per pound was 50 cents, then you could put this in there and Amazon would automatically calculate how much that would be for that item. And then your cost of purchase. Let's say it costs you $2 to buy this. You could put that in the cost of purchase. And then Amazon's revenue calculator in their phone app, which is free with your Amazon account, it comes down to a $4.44 profit. Again, these two things would then be subtracted out and you could see what your profitability is and also your profit margin, not the return on investment, but your profit margin you could also see there. Now, if you're using the desktop side, you can see right here, this is what it looks like for Amazon fulfillment. The right-hand side is your fulfillment if you're doing fulfilled by merchant. But again, this is Amazon fulfillment, same item price, referral fee, closing fee, variable closing fee, any fixed fulfillment costs, storage costs, etc. And this is where you can put your cost of goods sold and your miscellaneous costs like prep and whatnot. So you can see the same information, whether it's on the phone or it's on the desktop. This is how Amazon operates. Now, another option is actually utilizing a profit calculator like RevSeller or ASINZen. RevSeller actually is one that I typically am using. It gives you a lot more information and it pulls up this calculation on your Google Chrome extension. So if you're using Google Chrome and you're on the Amazon.com website, it will pull this up on the product page for you. And you can see this is a different example, selling for $30. There's a $10 buy cost, a $10.09 net, and you can see the 101% return on investment, which we'll get to in a minute, and a 34% profit margin. And so if you're interested in a discount on that, you can actually go to bit.ly/replens RevSeller, and that will get you a discount on the first year of using RevSeller. I've used this since 2015 almost, I think, and I love it. So I highly recommend checking that out to make your sourcing profitability decisions much quicker in your Amazon business. Now, one thing to note with profit is that there are some variables that you should keep in mind whenever you're sourcing. So the first thing is that if it's hard to prep or pack the shipment or that particular item, let's say you have 6 or 7 items in a bundle, or it's glass and is very breakable, then I recommend figuring in some additional costs so that you are being sure that you will be profitable before you purchase that inventory to send to Amazon. Now, if it's something that is simple and it's lightweight, it's easy to prep and pack, it only requires maybe a sticker, then in those cases, I don't typically build in the extra few pennies of cost for that particular sticker. I just let that go and look at the regular profitability based off of RevSeller or one of the other calculators, whatever it is that you're using. Now, over time, you may be able to actually figure out your average cost of prepping each individual item. You could actually figure that out with your bookkeeper, your accountant, or just seeing what your overall expenses are for all of your prep and ship, and you could build that out based off of a per item fee if you wanted to build that into your profitability decision making whenever you're looking at products to purchase for selling on Amazon. Now, here is actually an example that I'd like to go through, a high level example, because we're going to come back to this with the return on investment. First, $25 sale. Let's say there's a $10 Amazon fee. $10 is your cost of goods or the purchasing of the inventory. That leaves you with $5 of profit at the end whenever you're doing your analysis. Now, again, remember other items such as prep, storage, and shipping may not be calculated in. Well, in this particular case, the profit margin percentage that a lot of people confuse with return on investment actually is your profit divided by your sales amount. And so even though you have a $5 profit, you had a $25 sale price, that gives you a 20% profit margin. So here, if we were to work backwards, this would be like saying I sold $25 with a 20% profit margin. So 25 times 20% equals a $5 profit. So this is how you come up with your profit margin percentage, which definitely differs from your return on investment, which we'll get to in just a minute. Now, one thing that you should realize while you're out in Amazon communities, on YouTube, whatever it might be, and you hear someone that says, hey, I've sold $100,000 of product with 10% profit margin, that means that they had a $10,000 profit. Okay, that doesn't mean anything besides they have a $10,000 profit at the end of all of that. So just realize if you see someone with $100,000 in sales, whether it's yearly or monthly, and they say that this is their profit margin of 10%, then you have $10,000 of profit left over. However, the return on investment should be much, much higher and will be much, much higher than 10%. So let's now discuss ROI, or return on investment. Now, ROI simply means your profit divided by your cost of goods, or the cost of the inventory that you sold. So before, when we looked at profit margin percentage, it was profit divided by your sales amount, or the gross sale amount for the revenue of that item. Return on investment is your profit divided by the cost of goods, or the cost of the inventory that you had to purchase to send into Amazon. Now, if we take a look at that same exact example for profit, we're looking at a $25 sale, $10 Amazon fees, $10 cost of goods, $5 profit. Well, your ROI is a $5 profit divided by your $10 cost of goods, giving you a 50% return on investment as you're evaluating these products, because it is truly just returning 50% of your investment back to you, and really on top of what you put out for that inventory, on top of the cost of goods. So one way to kind of think about how do we speak about this is it is the $5 return that you get on the $10 investment that you made. So it's the return on investment, $5 return on the $10 investment that you made. That comes out to be 50% ROI. Keep in mind that your return on investment is very important because it tells you how efficient you are at using your money on Amazon or in your business in other ways. So the higher the ROI, let's say you have a 70% return on investment, the higher that is, the more efficient you are using your money in your business. If you're getting 70% return on investment and somebody else is getting 40% return on investment, you are more efficient because you have a much higher return on the investment you're sending out. Essentially, the higher the ROI, the quicker that you're able to grow your money and the quicker you're able to grow your business, as long as you can uphold that return on investment. Now, to me, this is the only number that can be a consistent baseline for you in sourcing, because whether you're spending $1 or you're spending $100 on inventory, you are able to look at your return on investment percentage and say, I was very good with the efficiency that I spent my money on these items. If I'm making 50% return on investment at $1 and I'm selling 100 of them, that comes out to $50 of profit. If I'm making a 50% return on investment on one item for $100, then that comes out to a $50 profit. So it ultimately comes out to what is the way that you're able to efficiently use your money the best. And so let's talk about the differences between profit versus ROI. Now, while somebody may say, hey, I would rather use profit percentage to make my purchasing decisions, I personally disagree with that, because if you make a 10% profit margin, that's based off the sale price. You can't control the sale price at all. Maybe, made $2.50 on a $25 sale price. Well, that $2.50 could have been a 50% ROI. So actually in our example, it was a 20% profit percentage with a 50% return on investment. The profit percentage can fluctuate very heavily, whereas the return on investment tells you how well you're spending your money, because it's based on how much the inventory actually cost versus being based on the actual sales value of the item. Now, for most new sellers, I recommend that they start with a minimum of a 40% return on investment and a minimum profit of $3. But again, it should be a sliding scale, because if I can spend $1 on something and make $2 on it, I'm fine doing that. It's a 200% return on investment. It's a $2 profit, but ultimately it does double my money. And so if I can do that on 100 items, that's a great use of money. And so just be smart with it. You may want a minimum of 40% return on investment, a minimum of $3 profit on the majority of your items. But as you get more expensive items or as you get less expensive items, you can kind of have that sliding scale that I mentioned earlier in this video. And so in summary, profit and ROI, or return on investment, investment are extremely important metrics in terms of making your best buying decisions for your Amazon business and in making sure that your business continues to be profitable for the long term. And so I'm glad that I'm able to answer the question here. Obviously, there are people that have differing opinions from me, but hopefully this helps shed some light on how to calculate the two of them and how you should be making the best decisions possible. Obviously, I'm not a bookkeeper and an accountant at all, so be sure to talk to your bookkeeper or accountant to get the best recommendations possible for your business. Now, if you have any more questions on this or anything with Amazon selling at all, be sure to leave them in the comments. I'd love it if you could subscribe to the channel and return back for all of the future videos that I do. And if you're interested in learning anything more about Amazon selling or growing and scaling your business to whatever levels it is that you're looking to hit, be sure to check out all the links that I have in the description for the Business Building Legends community, for the Proven Amazon course, for free Facebook groups, other things there. So whatever it is that you're looking for, there are links in the description. But I hope that this video helps you and blesses you, and hope that you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.